Simone Biles is suing USA Gymnastics over the organization's handling of the Larry Nassar case. As she got ready for the US Championships, the gymnast made a statement. Larry Nassar, a former team doctor, sexually abused hundreds of athletes, including her. In stark contrast to the dark days of the Larry Nassar scandal, which nearly destroyed USA Gymnastics, Simone Biles stood in the packed Target Center, watching as young gymnasts flipped and soared. 50 years ago, the organization was about to fold, but today they are hopeful and resilient. In spite of a complete change in leadership, how was USA Gymnastics able to recover, restore faith, and make things better for its athletes? When Biles spoke about retrusting the organization, she started to cry. Organizations have it tough when it comes to this, and the Larry Nassar scandal is a bleak period in sports history that no one can turn a blind eye to. USA Gymnastics and the entire sports world had to wake up from what feels like a nightmare. Consider this. Larry Nassar was entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring the health and safety of the athletes as a team doctor. He instead committed the most heinous act of sexual abuse against hundreds of female athletes while they were under his care, all while claiming to be a doctor. It's staggering to consider the number of lives he harmed. More than 300 girls and women, including famous gymnasts like Simone Biles, came forward to report his abuse. Everything was in disarray right after the scandal broke. Survivors seeking justice unleashed a barrage of lawsuits against USA Gymnastics. The group's legal woes became so overwhelming that they were forced to declare bankruptcy. Do you think that's true? Bankruptcy brings down a supporter of American Olympic sports. However, it continued beyond that. In the aftermath, a succession of CEOs came and went, each promising to stabilize the ship, but frequently bailing under the weight of responsibility. It was a devastating setback when sponsorships were withdrawn. USA Gymnastics is now struggling to find financial support as major sponsors distance themselves from the sport due to concerns about its reputation. Equinox and SoulCycle, a subsidiary of Equinox, attempted to separate themselves from the parent company's chairman in response to backlash over a planned political fundraiser in the Hamptons. Billionaire and majority owner Stephen Ross was the site where that endeavor was unveiled. Loss of confidence was one of the most negative effects. Money and management weren't the only issues here, people were. Athletes, coaches, club owners, and even some of the younger gymnasts' parents lost faith in USA Gymnastics. There had been a long-standing perception of the group as a haven for promising young artists. The scandal cast it in a negative light, showing how abuse had festered there. Seeing the disappointment on the faces of those who had once had great expectations for the sport and the organization was devastating. Both the gymnastics community and the general public were deeply affected. One of the most adored Olympic sports, gymnastics, was overnight shrouded in shame and suspicion. The parents' reluctance to sign their children up for gymnastics classes was understandable. There was a shift in emphasis from medals to safety and responsibility, and both athletes and coaches had to adjust to the new normal. Re-establishing public faith is no easy feat. The necessity for a shift in sports culture, including measures to safeguard players, promote openness, and ensure accountability for individuals in positions of authority, became a topic of conversation in every corner of society, from living rooms to fitness centers. The Nassar scandal served as a wake-up call for gymnastics, but it should have served as a strong reminder to all sports organizations of the critical importance of maintaining the safety and integrity of their athletes. Early in 2019, USA Gymnastics was still trying to recover from the Nassar scandal. Leong became the new president and chief executive officer at that point. During a particularly dark time for the group, her arrival was a breath of fresh air that brought hope. Leong wasn't your run-of-the-mill new boss. Her extensive experience seemed tailor-made for the monumental challenge that lay ahead. Leong had an in-depth knowledge of gymnastics because she had been a gymnast at the University of Michigan. She made a name for herself in the corporate world, particularly with the NBA, after her gymnastics career ended. She was the perfect choice to lead USA Gymnastics out of its current predicament thanks to her combination of athletic background and business acumen. A mentor informed her that she had the opportunity to be a part of what could be the biggest comeback in sports history when she was approached about the position. She felt compelled to accept that challenge. Leong had lofty but realistic goals for reviving USA Gymnastics. There had to be more than superficial adjustments if trust was to be restored, and she was well aware of this. She aspired to establish an environment that prioritized openness, the well-being of athletes, and responsibility. The focus was on establishing a strong basis for durability and reliability in the long run, rather than on finding short-term solutions. A major move she made early on was to reorganize the executive team. An all-female executive team was an unintended consequence of Leong's actions. It was more important to her to connect with like-minded individuals who shared her passion and goals than to make a statement or check a box. She found in the women she selected mission-driven leaders who put the greater good ahead of their own egos and agendas. Stephanie Corpin's background is intriguing, just like her role as the new chief program director. Once she retired from rhythmic gymnastics, gymnastics, she believed that was it for her career. Still, gymnastics had a knack for drawing her in again. In 2018, she became a member of the USA Gymnastics Board after re-engaging with the sport in a judging capacity. With Liang at the helm, Korpin was prepared to plunge into the fire, having anticipated the difficulties that lay ahead. An organization with 85% female members reflects Liang's leadership style, which prioritizes collaboration and support. In order to create a welcoming atmosphere where the athletes felt appreciated and heard, this was essential. Liang made sure the leadership team understood the gymnasts' problems by hiring women who had been through the sport's ups and downs. Cultural shifts occurred as a result of the new leadership team's efforts, not merely policy shifts. By doing so, they demonstrated USA Gymnastics' dedication to openness and the health of its athletes. For instance, in order to make sure that the team selection processes were fair and open, they used an independent observer system. To alleviate some of the emotional and financial strain on athletes and their families, they also made changes to the athlete funding model. Once again, USA Gymnastics felt like a family under Liang's direction. Achieving success in the aftermath of the scandal was more important than simply making it through. There was a discernible shift, and the group started to get back on its feet. The athletes and the sport's once shattered faith in Liang began to mend as he steadfastly pursued their best interests. One of the most important areas where USA Gymnastics achieved great progress is in financial stability. A new athlete funding model was put into place with detailed and explicit instructions on how the money was to be distributed. The new system was created with the intention of alleviating the anxiety and doubt that athletes used to feel about their financial support by being open and equitable. The United States Gymnastics Association allowed its athletes to concentrate on their performance rather than their finances by providing them with clear and concise information. An integral part of USA Gymnastics' mission to build a safer and more inclusive environment is mental health support. They instituted a system that pays for mental health specialists to see national team players and coaches. Recognizing the equal importance of mental and physical health, this initiative was revolutionary. Therapy dogs should not be overlooked. As a way to alleviate nerves and stress, these cute stuffed animals have become a mainstay at gymnastics competitions. Rhythmic Gymnastics VP Caroline Hunt came up with the idea, and it has been well received by everyone involved, including the judges and coaches. The fact that these dogs are able to make even the most icy coaches feel comfortable around them shows how much of an influence they are having. The women's senior team is being coached by Chelsea Memel and Alicia Sacramone Quinn, both of whom have Olympic experience. Both of them have been there, done that, and know what it takes to compete at the highest levels. They help the leadership see things from a different perspective, which increased their empathy and understanding. Having coaches who had been there, done that, helped the athletes tremendously. A more positive and encouraging atmosphere with the health and happiness of the athletes as its top priority was created under the direction of Memel and Quinn. A noticeable change has resulted from this cultural shift. Previously, there was less of an atmosphere of mutual respect and camaraderie. Take the recent US Championships as an example. Simone Biles had no qualms about interrupting her rotation to console Sunisa Lee following a challenging vault. What do you think about this then? Please inform us in the space provided below.